So what are these object methods? Why do we need to, what do we understand by them? So object methods is a collection. Object, as you know, we have already seen, is a collection of key value pairing or a name value pairs, we call it as. Okay, that is what your object is. And those key value pairs are called as properties of an object. When the value is a function, then that value or the property is called a method. So what it means is, let's take an example. We have created this object. What is this object? Full name, and it has got a key value pairing. And here the value is a string, here the value is string, but here the value is a function. Okay, that's the difference. Whenever the value is a function, then this property where full is called a object method. Method is nothing but function. So when the value is a function, the property becomes a method. Now whenever I can go ahead and say full name dot full, I just need to give a function, open and close parenthesis, because this will become a object method now. For other values, I can just give the key name. That should be good enough, because this is a simple property, key value pairing property, whereas this property is actually happens to be a function. Hence we are giving an open and close parenthesis because there is no parameters getting passed here. This is called as object method. Okay, so with this understanding, let's go a step further in order to understand. Now what I have done here, if you observe the object, what I have done is first name, last name, full, and I am directly giving a string value in the console log. Suppose I want to utilize these properties or these keys inside the function, then I need something called as this keyword. Now let's understand this keyword now. In JavaScript, this keyword refers to an object. Like for example, if I'm going to say, we have this, what is this? A full name. And then I'm going to give a full kind of a object method. And in this function, I can go ahead and say this dot f name plus this dot l name, which means I'm referring to this object called full name. From this object, I'm trying to refer these two properties, and then I'm concatenating and showing it. Like for example, this can still be written as, let's say, this dot f name plus this dot l name. And this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to return. All right. Now, whenever I go ahead and refer to this, I'm going to see the output. So what this keyword is talking about, this keyword means the object name. That is what we are saying, that this keyword refers to an object, and this keyword refers to a different object depending on how it is used. We'll talk about that. What are the different ways? But for now, understand that if given an object, okay, and here I can go ahead and make a slight tweak here because Rohit and Shetty are combining. I can add another space here, maybe. Okay, blank space and then concatenate it. Yeah, this should be good. There is a space here. All right. Now, this keyword refers to different objects depending on how it is used. Now, this keyword currently being used in an object where we are using inside the object method. And this is how you can go ahead and refer to the properties and utilize them with this keyword. Now, this is what the first way is. In the object method, this refers to the object. That is what we saw in this example. Now, if this keyword is used alone, then this refers to the global object. Like for example, let's say, let number is equal to this. Okay. Now what I'm trying to do if I go ahead and see what number contains, number is equal to this. I'm trying to use alone. This refers to the global object. So always in JavaScript, in your console, the global object is window. So all everything is part of the window. If I go ahead and see what number contains window. Window is nothing but a global object. And whenever we are talking about browser object model or document object model, we'll be able to understand how different objects like document, again, they become part of the global object called window. And you know, we already saw one of the methods, right? Window dot alert. Okay, that is what we saw. This method will print whatever we add the text here. Again, this is a part of the global object called window. All right. So whenever it is used alone, then this refers to the global object. And if the function, in the function, this refers to the, again, a global object. Like for example, let's say I'm going to create a function. Let's say function, let's say demo this. All right. And inside that, I'm going to add return this, something like that. All right. Now, whenever I call demo this, this will also return the global object window. All right. Whenever this is utilized inside the function, in a function, this refers to the global object again. Okay. Like the way when it is used alone, it is also referring to the global object called window object. And if you see, window object has got open curly bracket, open parenthesis and close parenthesis. Inside that, lot of properties are associated with the window object. And again, in the events, again, what are events we are going to see when we learn about DOM, document object model? There are a lot of events like clicking of a button, if you have a on change, and if those kind of events, whenever they are triggered, this will refer to the element that has received the event. We'll see this example later, but just understand that this has a different objects. It means a different whenever they are referenced in a different way. Like in an object, this is an object. Whenever it is used alone, it is a global object. If it is used in the function, this is a global object. And in the event, whenever this is used, it refers to the element that has received the event. Okay, let's understand about function expression now. What you saw about function expression. Now, there are a couple of things that you need to understand here. Function expression is very similar to the syntax as a function declaration. But whenever you use as a function expression, you are creating actually a variable. Okay. You function expression can be used to store in a variable. Now, let's understand this, what it means with an example. Let's say I'm creating a function. Let's say function, and this function may be, say, square number. Okay, the function is square number. It is going to take a number argument, parameter, and what it does, it is going to return num into num. Okay, simple. And now what it is giving me, if I go ahead and say square num of 5, it should say 25. So this is my function invocation. I am passing the argument 5. It will then go to the function definition. The function will take and return the value num into num, which is 5 into 5, and return the value called 25. All right. This is a normal way of writing a function. Now, in a function expression, you are not going to use the function name. Function name is omitted. And how are you going to write that? Let's see this. constant, because whenever you are using a function expression, it is an expression, which means there is some computation evaluated to some variable name. So let's say constant, and always the variable name will be the function name. Sqnum is equal to, understand that this is a name, and then you are going to give what, there is nothing called as a function name that I'm going to give. I'm just going to say function, okay, and then within the open and square parenthesis, I'm going to give what is known as the parameters, open and close. Inside open and close, I'm going to enter this value. Okay, I'm going to enter this value. If you observe the syntax here, how the function expression is. Function expression here is constant, name of the function is equal to, then there is a function keyword within the open and close parenthesis. You are going to give the parameters, then the block of code is executed. In the same way, what we have done it here. Okay. So yeah, square num is already been created. No problem. I'm going to give the different name, square number, let's say. So now square number, if I go ahead and add it and then give the value 5, it is going to return me 25. Okay, so what you have observed is, this is a normal way of writing a function. The same function can be written in a expression format. Okay, in an expression format, like you are creating a function variable, okay, which is actually referring to the function here. So whatever the function is here, you can just assign the value, compute it and assign the value, and the normal way of invocation and function calling will happen. This is known as a function expression. Okay, so it is just another way of writing a function. Okay, like a function expression can be stored as a variable. You are treating a function like a variable, you need a function expression. Okay, sometimes this is also called as an anonymous function. Okay, we call this as anonymous function, and we'll see this function expression using a lot of times. And also there is also something called as arrow function. We'll also see what the arrow function is, but this is a key point about a function expression. What it says, function expression in JavaScripts are not hosted, unlike function declaration. With that being said, let's talk about something called as arrow function. Okay, again, this is also an important concept here. What is meant by arrow function? A normal way of writing a function followed by parenthesis and then the block of code within the curly brackets is the first way. And then we also saw a function expression where you are assigning a function block to a variable. Here, what we are trying to do is, we are writing a shortcut to write a particular function. These are very much needed whenever we are using JavaScript array methods and other things, which you are going to see later, like maps, find, reduce, and all that. There you are going to use this arrow function a lot, because that is what the callback function we are going to use. But for now, let's understand what is this arrow function. Arrow function allows us to again write a shorter syntax of creating a function expression. So the main symbol that we are going to use is equal to sign and the greater than sign. Okay, combined together. We'll see that how. This is the syntax of writing a arrow function, where a constant name of the function is equal to open and close parenthesis. Within that, you are going to have the parameters, and then equal to greater than, which is the arrow function symbol, and then the block of code. Just observe that there is no keyword called function in the arrow function. So the function keyword is omitted. Instead of that, there is this arrow function symbol is going to be used. Let's take this same example and write it. Like for example, we have seen what is that function we have created. Yeah, this was the function that we have created, already been defined. Don't worry. But I'm just going to show this. This can be written in a arrow function in a much separate way. Like for example, constant, let's name it as square num is equal to. Now you are not going to use the function keyword. Rather, you are directly going to enter a parameter, then a function symbol, and then you are going to enter this particular block of code. All right. This is how you will write a arrow function, which is a shorter version of writing the function expression, because we don't need a function keyword there. Now here let's go ahead and say num. If I go to pass 5, it is still going to return me 25. But the catch here is, let's understand how shorter can this be returned. Okay, now we saw this is the way you are writing a function, arrow function. Now let's reduce it further. What it says is remove the word function and place the arrow. That's what we did. Next, remove the parameters if there is only one parameter. Okay, what we can do is, whenever we are writing this function, if there is one parameter, we don't even need to write a parenthesis there. Okay, you don't even need to write open and close parenthesis. You can omit that if there is a single parameter. All right, and next, remove the body braces and the return keyword if there is only one line of expression. Like for example, in this case, only one line of code exists in the body of the function. So you don't need what we need. You don't need a curly brackets and the return. How this can be written? It can go ahead and write. You can remove this as well. You can remove if there is only single line of expression like this. If there is a single line of expression which is returning only one value, you don't even need a curly brackets, and also you don't even need a return statement or a return keyword. You can just write this particular function expression, arrow function, reduced to a single line like this. What it contains: const, this is a function name, is equal to the parameter, single parameter, and then the arrow function, a symbol, which again, this is a return statement. That's it. Okay, so now you can go ahead and call this function. Look how small you can write a particular function. Okay, this is the beauty of arrow function. So it can reduce a function to a much shorter format. Now, once you know this arrow function, then there is again something called as callback functions. So what it means: when a functions are passed as an argument to another function, they are known as callback function. Okay. So like for example, so far what you were doing, like if you see function, then we had this, let's say this one, what we had, let's say return. Very simple. You have a function, you have a function name, two parameters, you're summing it up and return statement. That's what you're doing. Now, what you have passing here is a variable. What if this is a function itself? So when your function contains a another function, like for example, square num. Now, square num, we have already defined it as a function, and that is going to be called before you execute this function. Okay, so always remember that a function with a parameter as a function is known as a callback function. So the function which can be passed as an argument to another function, they are known as callback functions. All right. So this is again a concept. You will learn the callback functions much better when we go ahead and understand the arrow, array methods, some of the array methods where the argument, where the parameter is actually a callback function. We'll see that with the example when we visit those arrow. array methods. You will be understanding it much better.